I don't know. He's gotten plenty of reps in the last couple of weeks. We had a bye week, right? So Khalil was not able to go the week before. He and JJ really sat out the bye week, and then JJ was it just didn't look good up until Thursday. The way we practice, Thursday's more of a walkthrough than Friday, and then Friday is we call it Fast Friday, so we're going full speed. So, at that point, if you're not sure, if you haven't practiced a lot, Khalil did practice Tuesday, did some 7-on-7, did a little bit more Wednesday. Did the walkthrough Thursday, but then yesterday was not a good day. So, he had a hamstring that was healing up. We run him in the pool. He's got an ankle too, and so, to be effective the way he needed to be, we just didn't think he was going to be able to do that. And fortunately, in this situation, Grant and Rhett got all the reps a week ago during the bye week, and then Grant got a lot of reps this week. So we went with those guys.
How would you
today? What was your assessment of how he played?
Well, I mean, if the first thing you look at with a true freshman quarterback is the number one thing was poise, how he handled situations. I thought he was very, very mature about how he handled things, how he went about his business. Second thing that's probably the biggest plus is 0 turnovers, right? Didn't give the other team the ball. And and I said pregame, and we talked about at the hotel before we came over, hey, look, it's not on Grant, it's on the 10 other guys that are on the field to make this thing work tonight. We got to block, we got to protect, we got to hang on the ball, we got to fight for every yard, and that's what they did. I mean, we struggled early running the ball because they just loaded the box and dared us, dared him to throw. So we ran the perimeter, got around early. That was our plan. They stretched it out a little bit, but they were running the linebackers through and basically said, hey, look, young guy, we're not going to let you without your 2 best offensive players. We're not going to just let you guys run the ball and stay back here. We're going to make him throw it. And he missed a couple things, but I mean, he managed the game well. Not a lot of miscues with delay of games, things like that happen in those pressure situations from a freshman quarterback. So, I think this is a great experience. I mean, primetime TV, true freshman start his first game against a conference opponent, the first game, come out and win in a close game. We got some things to clean up, but obviously, he's got a bright future.
All of us amateur play callers were wondering why you didn't run the ball more early in the game, maybe even throughout the game. I think you had 44 pass attempts. Is their defensive look the main reason for that?
That was happening, right? So I just talked about that.
Yeah, no,
we ran it, and we weren't getting much early, and then we got to the perimeter early, which kind of helped us passing stats. But those are good plays. Then once we stretched them on the perimeter, we were able to run the ball inside a little bit more in the second half. But the early game plan, they had the linebackers walked up in there running through gaps. What we're trying to do is stay away from negative yardage plays, and I thought Grant did a nice job even in the zone read game of either pulling it himself and running for 4 or 5 yards. Or pulling it and flipping it on the perimeter because they were chasing it down from the inside out. And so for the most part, his decision making was really good in the zone read game. It's just a little bit different with him, just as a runner. He got a few yards running, but obviously that's not his forte. I thought he pulled it and flipped it out on the perimeter, and we made yards that way. So
you did get Bam Smith involved a lot in the passing game.
Yep.
Obviously, he had the 75-yard touchdown and then that big 3rd down conversion that enabled you to kind of flip the field. Can you just talk about his progress, the impact that he's had? He's a dynamic player, and you look at what happened.
We had some guys pretty beat up from 2 weeks ago. Gary really didn't do much the week before. kind of practiced this week. He was a little nicked up. So, you saw Wiley early in the game, right? So, those guys, we've got confidence in our running backs. They've all played. Tilford came in and early in the game and really is a change of pace back. I think he had a 15, 20-yard run early in the game. So it was, running back by committee, which it's been this year. But, a lot of guys, when they say, well, you got 4 running backs, a lot of people say that and don't have one. We got 4 or 5 guys that we feel comfortable with playing at any time in any game in a lot of positions, whether it's spread out because they can catch the ball, they can and they can run it. So as we talked about 2 weeks ago, what we want to do is try to get our best personnel on the field, and obviously our running backs are part of that.
You mentioned you used the phrase 2 best offensive players. What does it say about your team that didn't do great in week 1 to be able to overcome such a thing and win your conference opener without Khalil and JJ?
Well, it's a team effort. It's always, I say it all the time. We worry more about us than the opponent, and I think we've learned a lot about each other, coaches and players, and personnel. I think you guys have seen over the last few weeks some change in personnel at a lot of different positions, right? Trying to get our best players on the field to give our team the best opportunity to win, and that's what coaching is all about. So, during those times, we've also been able to play a bunch of people in the last couple, 3 weeks. We may have a little bit more depth at certain positions, a lot of positions right now than we had. I think I counted TV people, we had 1 senior, maybe 1 or 2 seniors start on offense, right? And maybe 1 or 2 on defense. Everybody else is underclassmen. And I think that says more about this team than anything, because these guys are learning on the run. They're growing up, and to play in the last 2 games the way they played down the stretch for really a young football team. You just talked about the completion from a true freshman quarterback to Bam Smith. Right, and guys who are out there, even Donovan Lake. He's a veteran player for us, but he's a sophomore. Even though he started all 12 games last year, right? So we at one point out there, you look and it's Bam or it's Wiley or it's Tavion, right? Guys that just got here, and they're all underclassmen, and they're getting better every week.
I know that our viewers, and I'm sure your fans would love to hear from Grant. Are you going to make him available to us at all?
We'll see.
Your thoughts on
It's usually my policy has been forever. Freshmen, we'll just wait, right? So we'll just keep freshmen out of it, and we'll see where that goes.
Your thoughts on icing the kicker?
What's that?
Your thoughts on icing the kicker at the end and how that went? Obviously it went well. Just your thoughts, your philosophy.
Well, those are you can't take you don't get extra timeouts in overtime, right? So. You got them in your pocket. I can't take them home and bring them the next game. But probably the biggest decision was not to use the last time out on the next game. And that's all luck of the draw.
Do you know if it happens or is more successful when or not? Just when you do it or when you don't do it?
There are studies on that, right? So it depends on what level you're talking about. Collegiate football, it happens and it doesn't, so it worked tonight.
Personally, for you though, how successful has that been in your coaching career?
Oh, I don't know. There's been a couple of them, that have happened, and I've also had times where I've called it and the guy missed it, and then made the next one, right? So then you guys it's just the opposite comment from you guys and the fans. What are you doing? So yeah, that's what it is. And you got 2 or more timeouts, right? You just use them at that point.
Have you ever seen Tony Fields play better than he did tonight? It seemed like he was all over the place.
Yeah, he's been playing great. I think we've got that group of guys has Penny makes a big play, right? When he intercept, a lot of these are sack, almost a strip. those guys are feeding off each other, and they love playing football. And you know, I think there's a little competition in that room between those three guys. They play well together, you know, but it gives us some flexibility, because I think they know that. Well, I know they know that if we go back to nickel, and there's only 2 of the 3 on the field, right? And one of the coach's greatest friends is competition. So we're comfortable with any of those 2 being on the field. And the guys who are playing the best, you know, get out there and play. And you know, we can't, against certain sets, you know, we can't put all 3 of those guys out there in the field in a coverage situation like at the end of the game. They got a corner out on us from, you know, they're kind of hybrid tight end. And I think they know that. And so they're ready to go, and they like playing football, and I think they give our team some juice, but they also give each other juice, because they know that whoever's playing good, playing the best, you know, we're gonna leave those 2 out there.
What was the biggest defensive adjustment that you made to curtail Thompson Robinson's scrambling, which really hurt you early in the game?
Well, I think that you know, we gave up some creases in some lanes, and you know, you saw a couple times it didn't help us as much. We dropped some linemen, some 3 techniques out, and showed blitz with the 2 linebackers in the A gaps, but popped the D linemen out and rushed our linebackers. And so, you know, those guys had got in the windows and deterred the pass, but you know, Travion Mason didn't come here to drop and try to make an open field tackle. So, you know, he got loose a couple times on us early. We gave up some seams inside. It really wasn't a perimeter. You know, we contained him, but you know, in this situation, you got to stay disciplined in your gap and rush areas, and we did not do that. And you know, I think later on too, we had some issues with inside zone that way too. So, you know, the same thing we've been preaching. Hey, look, you don't have to make every play. Just do your job and trust your teammates to be where they need to be. And you know, I think when we had some breakdowns in the 4th quarter, that was not the case. But I got to go back and look at it.
Were you satisfied with the open field tackling tonight?
I don't know that anybody's ever satisfied with that. You know, we did wrap up a couple times, hit a couple guys. I was satisfied with the effort to get there. I thought our secondary was extremely aggressive in pass breakups and some really close calls. I mean, just guys were on top of people. You know, we only had a couple times where we had cut guys wide open. So, you know, from that standpoint, you know, I was really I thought our coverage was good because they were aggressive at the moment of truth, I call it. And when the ball's there, they played it. We've gotten better at that than last year. But you know, hey, this game now is a spread game. We got to be able to tackle better. You know, obviously we tackled Tech pretty well. I don't think we were like that tonight, but I did think that, you know, teams that are like that, I thought the effort, even after the missed tackle from the other guys running the ball, eliminated a lot of big plays. And that's what defense is about, right? You're going to miss some. We got to be better tacklers, but all in all, I thought the effort from the 10 other guys to get the guy on the ground and not let it be a humongous play was important. And that's what we have to improve on defense. I think we're doing that.
What do you think of Matt Aragon's performance tonight?
Yeah, I wrote down 2 or 3 things here. You know, the things that we talked about, how you win close games, and we had 0 turnovers, right? His punt, he had 5 for 47.4, right? Which we out-punted them because they were at 42.5. And then the big deal was, you know, they didn't get a kickoff return because Lucas kicked it out every time. And they had 2 punt returns for 11 yards, right? So they were leading the country. So with the exception of the missed field goal, at the beginning of the game. You know, I thought our special teams outperformed theirs, and that was a goal coming into this game. And we had to hold the return game, and we got better. I thought Aragon did what he needed to do. Would have liked to knock one down in there inside the 10, but you know, he flipped the field, gave them some long fields, and we contained the return guys with either kicking it out on kickoff or punt. The last punt was excellent, and we had excellent coverage on a guy who's shown that he's about as dangerous as there is in the country. So, you know, from that standpoint, as I said, with the exception of the first missed field goal, I thought our special teams did a nice job.
Time for one more question?